Hi everyone. This is a Congregation Beth Am public service announcement for the High Holidays and Sukkot. I want to ask you to imagine yourself walking into our sanctuary in just a little over a week for Rosh Hashana. Maybe actually before you think of that, think about what you did last year when you walked in. What did you do? What did you see? How did you feel? What's the first thing you did when you sat down? Usually in our sanctuary, there's a lot going on. There are many people. Very often there's a feeling on Rosh Hashana of seeing all sorts of people you haven't seen in a while. We greet people. We're trying to figure out which part of the service we're in. We open up our machzor to start to find the page. But what if we sat down, perhaps with our machzor in hand, but rather than checking with the person next to us, perhaps before we find the page, we just sit quietly for a few moments, maybe even a few minutes, and we think to ourselves and ask ourselves, what am I hoping to experience in my time here in the sanctuary? What am I feeling? What prayers do I have inside of me that I'd like to express? If we approach our time in the sanctuary on the high holidays with the sense that there is something happening within us, not only something happening around us, but something happening within us, that there's a potential for change, there's a potential for prayer. Not only the recitation of the words, which is part of the experience of being in synagogue on the holidays, but prayer, however we would define that. If we realize that there's the potential, we admit, and we not only that, but we look forward to the experience of the possibility of change, we might find ourselves having a different sort of experience than we did last year. The high holidays are a time for reflection. There's so much time set aside in the month leading up to Rosh Hashana and in the days between Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur focused on what has happened in the past year and what we hope for in the coming year. But sometimes when we get into the sanctuary, there's so much going on around us that we fail to notice what's going on within us. And I think that giving ourselves a few moments before we embark on the process of prayer and of hearing the Torah read and hearing the blowing of the shofar, if we give ourselves those moments, we might have a different sort of experience than we've had before. Just to tell you that there's a real precedent for this sort of thing within Jewish tradition. The Talmud teaches us that the real pious people, before they actually said their prayers, they would sit in silence for an hour to create a sense of kavanah, that is, to direct themselves, to direct their mind and their hearts towards their prayers. They sat and they got ready for the experience of prayer. Now, if you'd like, you can take an hour in our sanctuary as well before you embark on prayer, but at the very least, give yourself a few moments, a few minutes to get ready for the experience of prayer and of community and of learning that goes with our Torah reading, all of that happens on the coming holidays. And I wish you Shana Tova.